Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Storytime with Aldrich. This will be part 2 of my original piece, Origins of the Usurper God. If you like this story, then please, obviously, ring the notification bell so that you can be updated whenever I release another part to my story. And, additionally, if you have shall we say, experience creating images, or rather mangas and or comics, I would be very interested to talk to you about possibly publishing an physical illustration or a virtual illustration of the story. Someday I would love to make a web comic or a manga of this story. And me making these videos is kind of an easy way of me putting my story out there so that I can get the attention of people who have the skills to make my story something that people can enjoy even more. Now then, when we last left off in part 1 of my story, I told you about a man who lived in another world, a man who was reincarnated into a new world, into a new life, and into a new body. This man's name was Jack Destre, and being born into the most wealthy and influential family in the land, he was afforded opportunities to learn from the greatest instructors in the land, on whichever subject he was interested in. So, Jack, naturally, being the inquisitive mind, learned about fencing, cooking, hygiene, time management, and an assortment of other skills which would make him stand out as a very unique and well-kept individual, a very elegant noble, if you will. I'll get to a part later where I start telling you a little bit about my involvement, but I'm kind of foreshadowing just a little bit, so you'll have to kind of bear with me. If you really want to find out my personal involvement in this story, in the events that I am portraying to you now, then you'll have to keep watching each new episode as I release it to find out more about this exciting story. Anyway, back to the story. Jack being afforded all these opportunities made him a little bit spoiled, admittedly, but at his core, he still had a really good heart. He really wanted to help people, and he genuinely cared for others. That is until the day that he joined the Heroes Guild. Something started to take hold within Jack. He started to develop what you might call greed, an interest in things that didn't always necessarily belong to him, or even things that he couldn't ever really hope to get. Things like the feelings, reciprocated feelings of other people. Anyway, Jack's time spent in the Hero Guild of the city, rather, oh, I forgot to say. Actually, that's right. Oh my, oh my, oh my, oh my. I left out a very, very, very crucial detail. Okay, so basically, Jack lived in a city called Usurpia, and this city was run by his family house Destre. Being the most wealthy and influential family in this land, they got to rule the second largest city within their quote-unquote kingdom. Oh yes, that's right, I also forgot. My apologies. I will get back to that other point I was going to make in just a second. But basically, so the Hero Guild is actually located in the city that I was talking about. The city that he lives in, the city that his family actually occupies and rules over as its lords. Basically, Jack spent a lot of time, about 5 years from the age of 15 to 20, as a member of the Usurpia Hero Guild. And in that time, he developed signs of greed and etc., etc. Stuff began to take hold over him. Stuff like that. He began to kind of change gradually. And then one day, he was on his way back to his home city when he got word from a messenger that the city was under siege by a man named Mr. Strike. And this man, I'll go into more detail about him later, but this man, you could call him kind of the king of the bandits, so to speak. He led the largest, most organized army of bandits in this world. and this bandit army had gone unchecked for quite some time. And under Strike's leadership, this organization has become very feared and nigh unstoppable. Not even the great heroes known as cardinal knights within this world, which can be dispatched by the current cardinal of the church, the Holy Church, which represents the religion which rules this world. Not even these cardinal knights, the greatest heroes of this land, can stop this army because it is so massive, so well protected, and so well organized. A normal army which wasn't, organized and really well outfitted would normally stand a chance against a single cardinal knight. And let that wash over you. Let that tell you exactly how powerful the cardinal knights were. And let that tell you just how formidable of an adversary Mr. Strike was, especially to Jack and the city and the people he once held dear. Jack arrived too late back to his home city. He saw it engulfed in flames, nigh destroyed by by Mr. Strike and his unbeatable army of bandits. All of his closest relatives, his father whom he loved so much, his mother whom he loved so much, his sister whom he kinda loved, but kinda fought with at the same time. It was more of a rivalry, if anything. All of them dead. All of his closest friends, all of his love interests had been slain. Their corpse piled up in in the street that led to his family home. Mr. Strike was sending Jack a message. See, Mr. Strike became an enemy of Jack at one point during his adventures with the Usurpia Hero Guild. Unfortunately for Jack, Strike wasn't the forgiving sort, and he was the kind that would retaliate in full force. So from that point on, Jack was fundamentally changed from inside. He grew cold and distant from any chance at human interaction with other people. He just kind of died inside. Instead of trying to live the kind of life that he wanted, the kind where he could grow up to lead the house and really make things better for the people in his world, he was so filled with rage and despair that a fundamental change had taken place, and that was his heart growing black. His once brilliant and red, beautiful heart, full of love and compassion and empathy, was turned black as stone. And any mercy that he once had was gone. And from this point on, he became a man to be feared. He would go into towns, into cities, take what he wanted, and leave. He would do what he wanted and leave. He would damn the consequences. Whenever guards tried to apprehend him, he would slay all guards pursuing him and send letters to anyone in charge of having sent the guards after him. And they were pretty threatening. Usually he would cast a magic spell on these letters that would actually eliminate the person who sent the guards after him. Jack was not a very nice person at this point, and things were only destined to get worse once he had a fateful encounter with Mr. Strike once more. And that's where I'll be ending part 2 of Origins of the Usurper God. In the future, if more people take interest and pay attention to my story and my audiobooks, I'll start actually live streaming my stories and have real-time interaction with people while I'm telling the story. So, again, this has been Aldrich Advisor, and I really hope you're enjoying the story thus far, and I hope that you ring the notification bell so that you can stay up to date on each new episode as I release them. So, until then, or rather until the next episode or the next video I plan to release, this has been Aldrich Serpent, and have an excellent day. Goodbye.